Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about PS2 emulation with PCSX2, and there appears to be some misinformation spreading around. So stories like this one popped up in a whole bunch of different places, and based on the title here you can probably start to put the pieces together. It says more PS2 games expected in PS Plus Premium as Sony partners with an emulation company. So here's the statement directly from PCSX2 to help clarify the issue. They say there's a bunch of rumors going around that we're updating games for Sony. None of this is true. Two people who are no longer associated with the project are doing the updates, not us. I hope this quells the rumors. While it's true that former PCSX2 developers are working with Sony, nobody from the current team is. PCSX2 is not affiliated with Sony, unless I'm mistaken. And for reference here, the two developers who used to work on PCSX2 are Jake, as well as Gregory. So both Jake and Gregory are a part of Implicit Conversions, a company working with Sony, and they have a very interesting origin story. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Jake credits himself with introducing the ability to resize a window in PCSX2. Interestingly enough, and this is where things get cool, Sony reached out to Jake and ended up hiring Jake as an engineer to participate in developing their PS2 emulator on PS4. Now, all of this stuff went down a number of years ago. It's by no means recent, but for some reason the rumors are. Anyways, on a side note here, Implicit Conversions is responsible for introducing Syrup, an advanced emulation engine to bring 8, 16, and 32-bit games to modern consoles. If you're curious at all about this stuff, I'll drop a couple of helpful links in the description below and feel free to check them out. And speaking about developers, next up we're talking about one heck of a marketing campaign, and this one's by Sungran Studios. Apparently they've got a Kickstarter that hasn't been doing too well. The developer has been questioned as to whether or not they can actually deliver. To prove their competency, the developer decided to create a couple of proof of concepts here for Mighty No. 9, one on PSVita and one on the 3DS. The video itself is entertaining and the developer takes you through his entire process. I'll drop a link to it in the description below and I do recommend checking it out. But if instead you wanted to check out the proof of concepts yourself, you absolutely can. The developer released them over on itch.io, one for the Vita and one for the 3DS. I'll drop a link to both in the description below. And for reference, here is their Kickstarter. The game is called Breath of Thunder, a JRPG on modern and legacy consoles. They're currently just under 1/3 of the way to their goal with 23 days left to go. So based on their pledge structure, the game starts at about $40 and they'll be releasing it on the Switch, Atari VCS, Playdate, Vita, and Steam. And check out these stretch goals. I can see where there may have been some skepticism. I mean, this is a whole lot of systems, including the Virtual Boy. So I guess just let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you think the developer can do it? Are you interested in the project? Next up, we're talking about Final Fantasy 16, and I've got some good news and some possibly not so good news, depending on your setup. Anyways, for the good news, the PC version is reportedly in the final stages of optimization, and we may be getting a demo. And for the possibly bad news, again, depending on your setup, they say naturally the PC specifications are looking to be somewhat high. They don't mention if it's for minimum specs or recommended specs. They don't give any specs. So I'm wondering if something like the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally is going to be compatible with Final Fantasy 16. I guess we'll have the demo to test it out. Next up, this is a real quick one and a big win for open source stuff. Elon Musk tweeted out this week they're going to open source Grok, which is their AI. For those who may not be aware, Grok is kind of a competitor to ChatGPT and it's still in very early stages of development, or maybe mid stages. I don't know, it's in beta. Anyways, this is probably going to be very good for Grok to advance it moving forward. Moving on, and I've got a quick update for you about something we talked about yesterday, and we talked about Citra Enhanced continuing on. Citra Enhanced is a fork of Citra for Android. It was abandoned a while back and has since been picked up. The project has been renamed to Lemonade, and Lemonade now has a GitHub. I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and I guess we'll see where this thing goes. Moving on, and if you're a fan of Dark Souls 3 and a fan of modding, well, you may be a fan of this, Dark Souls Archthrones. This is a mod for Dark Souls 3 and it's meant to be a prequel. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the video in the description below and feel free to check it out. The demo for this is available on March 15th. And for reference here, this unofficial mod has been in development for some time. I mean, they've got a tweet from back in March of 2022. And they're promising new story and NPCs, new enemies and bosses, new and overhauled levels and maps, and new and improved lighting and visuals. And last up here, if you're a Street Fighter fan, you might like this one. Akuma has been announced to be arriving in the game this spring. In my opinion, he should have been included in the base game. In my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinions. Anyway, he's arriving. It was kind of a bad kept secret, but now it's officially official. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.